You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday, October 20th. Welcome to the work week. Hopefully you guys all had a fantastic weekend. It was a busy weekend in the Randazzo household. They're all busy, I think, especially this time of year, but a fun weekend, a busy weekend. It's been a hectic time on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I joked with my wife this morning. I'm like, you know, I'm slumming it on the show today. I'm going with a hat. I got the Lions hoodie on. Monday Night Football game tonight. It feels like a good Monday to relax a little bit, unwind, and talk a whole bunch of sports. So that's the plan over the next 2 hours right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. If you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you. YouTube has been outstanding, especially of late. If you're subscribed, thank you for that. If you have not subscribed, please do so ASAP. And as I always say, tell a friend or two or 10 or 100 what we're doing each and every day. Subscriptions are well wanted and well appreciated. So each and every day around 10 a.m. On the weekdays. So thank you for that if you're doing so on YouTube. We're also live on X. X is always very good to us. The Hawkeyes won on Saturday, so Tom Caker and I did a special show. It was almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and I think 5,000 people's ended up watching it on X alone, which is crazy. So if you're watching on X, we appreciate that. We love feedback, so do that as well. If you are watching on YouTube, we love feedback as well. The chat is there. I try to monitor it. I need to hire somebody, I think, but I need more of me so I can do a few things during the show. So we'll chat on there as well. So make sure you give your opinion and thoughts on the chat as well. We're also available on all the podcasting platforms. So if it's Apple, Spotify, Podbean, iHeart, you name it, wherever you get your podcasts, check out the show in the audio version there as well. And then I think it's week 4 now. Probably week 4 with our Central Iowa viewers. We appreciate you guys. We love the feedback as well. Last week was your week when we go live from Carver Hawkeye Arena on Tuesday and Wednesday with both the women's and the men's media days. If you missed those shows and you're an Iowa fan or you're a women's basketball fan in general for the Tuesday show, go check out the 2 shows, Tuesday and Wednesday, live from Carver Hawkeye Arena. Loaded lineups. Can't thank the University of Iowa and the athletic department enough for letting me crash the party. So go check those out if you missed those as well. A fun day, a fun show to get to today. Coming up in the matter of moments, we'll be joined by our good friend Pat Anger, like we almost always are on a Monday. And we have plenty to talk about. The Iowa Hawkeyes beating Penn State in dramatic comeback fashion. Iowa didn't play great. They made a lot of big mistakes, game-changing mistakes that usually would cost a football team on a Saturday. But Iowa persevered. They get the big victory. They get to 5-2. I think it shows the growth of a pretty good football team to be able to not play your best against a talented Penn State team. And I know all of the storylines behind Penn State, but bottom line is that's a very talented roster, and for Iowa, and motivated team as well, for Iowa to survive and get a victory. Big win for them. Pat Anger will talk more about it coming up in just a little bit. Also, this past weekend, great high school football on both sides of the river. On Saturday afternoon, I'm watching my social media, Twitter a little bit while I'm up in Iowa City for the Hawkeye Tailgate Show, and I watched I see the score for Sterling Newman. It was 43-8. I was like, wow, Newman with a nice win. And that was at the end of the first quarter. Newman scored 43 points in the first quarter, 70 plus in the game. They're now 7-1, playing really good football. They'll be in 1A coming up soon. So their head coach, Mike LeMay, will join us live around 10:40 here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. So looking forward to chatting with him as well. Speaking of high school football, on the Iowa side, a lot of great games coming up this week. You're going to have Mount Vernon and Assumption with the winner making the playoffs. You're going to have Davenport North at 6-2 going up to North Scott at 5-3, the winner guaranteeing themselves a spot in the postseason. Winner or the loser could get in either way, but you got to wait and sweat it out a little bit. So big game up there. Davenport North head coach Adam Hite will join us later in hour number 2. They're 6-2. They've got some fantastic individual stories. He's recently become the program's winningest head coach in program history. So a lot to get to. Adam Hite, a good dude, will join me coming up in hour number 2 of the show. Excuse me. I'm still battling a little cough. And then last but not least, it's Monday, Marxy Monday. We'll talk Bears. We'll talk college football. We'll talk some high school football. And I got to get cranky a little bit when it comes to people complaining about officials. It annoys me. And I understand it. There's bad calls made. I'm not arguing the calls. Just the aftermath afterward is getting kind of annoying. So all of that coming up in today's show. We mentioned this weekend, Iowa won. Illinois had a bye week. So Illinois and Iowa State both with a bye week. So not much to talk about with them when it comes to on the field, but when it comes to the AP Top 25, a lot to talk about because Illinois back in at number 23. And you look, Iowa State not in the rankings, but if you look at number 11, BYU is. They beat Utah this past weekend in a amazing rivalry out in Utah. So BYU, number 11 in the nation, will come to Jack Trice Stadium this Saturday. That will be a huge game. We'll talk more about that with Jake Brend coming up later in the show, or not in this show, but later this week, excuse me. But there you have it. That's a huge game. Ohio State's still sitting at number 1. There's Indiana at number 2, Texas A&M, Georgia, or Alabama, and Georgia round out your top 5. Oregon sits there at number 6. And watch the Ducks, especially, Iowa, if they can beat Minnesota, they'll have a bye week, and then they'll have Oregon coming to town. So possibly a top 5 team coming to Kinnick Stadium later this year in just a couple weeks. So a lot to get to when it comes to those kind of things. Miami drops to number 9. And there's Notre Dame, after losing 2 games early in the season, working their way back up the national rankings at number 12. I think if the Irish take care of business the rest of the way, they're probably still a college football playoff team, and they can do some damage once they get there as well. So there's your AP top 25 when it comes to college football. And when you talk about it, we mentioned it, a big game between Iowa State and BYU. We'll talk more about that throughout the week right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We had some fun on Friday. We were on the road at United Township. It was Moline UT week. Moline won that football game. 35-0 was the final score. But before the game, on our show, we had the 2 athletic directors, Todd Thompson and Scott Harding, make a friendly wager. We're going to have those 2 on later this week as well. But after the game, it was UT losing. So Scott Harding, the United Township athletic director, will work the concession stand at the opponent's game coming up when the basketball season starts. So Todd Thompson, and God bless AI, took to social media, and this is what it will look like. Scott Harding and Moline gear, which is nothing new because he's went to Moline and he's got sons that did well at Moline. Plenty of Moline connections. He's probably got Moline apparel in his closet, but he will head to the Wharton Fieldhouse and work the concession stand. So that is a lot of fun. Well played by Todd Thompson's part, getting that out to social media. And we'll talk with those 2 knuckleheads later on this week as well, right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Some college basketball this past weekend. On Friday night, Iowa State and Creighton played. Creighton missing several starters, including Owen Freeman. Iowa State was not with Taman Lipsey. He was out for that game, but it was Creighton winning that one by 13 points. And then over the weekend, Illinois played Illinois State. Fighting Illini won that one impressively, 92-65. Again, it doesn't count. It's an exhibition. But their new freshman, David Merkovic, from overseas. I say freshman, but he's played professional basketball, but it is college basketball these days. Had 19 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Kylan Boswell played well, 14 points. And Illinois starting off the season with an impressive victory, exhibition-wise, against Illinois State. So college basketball is officially here. It's crazy. It's starting soon. And it's that crossover time in which we'll have a lot to talk about, not just in this show, but in sports in general when it comes to all of that as well. Bears win yesterday. We'll talk more about that with John Marx. They've won 4 straight. They're 4-2 on the season. I'll give them flowers. I think they're doing a lot of good things. So we'll talk all about that coming up later on in the show. But we start today like we start a lot of Mondays, and it's with our good friend Pat Angerer, the voice, not the voice, Gary Dolphin's the voice, the Iowa football analyst when it comes to the radio side of things, the one and only Pat Angerer. And joining us now like he always does on a Monday morning, despite the dark window behind him, because we're not taping this on Sunday night, Pat Angerer. It's been a good weekend, hasn't it, my friend?
Yeah, it was great. It was it's always fun when Iowa wins. It makes everything so much better. It was a great game. It was a fun game. A lot of ups and downs in that game. Team showed a lot of grit. They came together. And like I said earlier, it's those type of games. They're so much fun when you win them, but when you lose them, they're like these games suck. So it was nice to be on the other side of it. But yeah, great game. Really happy for the coaches and the players to get that win.
Pat, I walked out of Kinnick Stadium thinking Iowa beat a pretty good football team. I'll get myself in trouble, although I do the pregame. But they beat a pretty good football team. Iowa didn't play that well. They made a lot of mistakes along the way. They made a lot of game-changing mistakes along the way, and they still won a football game. They never gave in. They never gave up. Talk about that a little bit, because it wasn't pretty. But at the end of the day, it's a big victory at night against Penn State.
Yeah, in order for it to be a special season, you got to win those games where you don't play good. And I thought that young guy came in, and I thought he did valiantly. I thought he did really well. I think he did enough he put his team in position to win, and I think he did the best that he could with a week of preparation. But love the fact that our boys prepared and they fought and they stuck together and they didn't give up. And it's a team that, a guy like me that played for Iowa, it's a team that us guys that played for him are proud of them because they do it the right way.
Pat Angerer joining us right now and off the air with Matt Randazzo. We've talked about Mark Gronowski a lot, and there's been peaks and valleys and all of those kind of things, injuries, but he's grown on me, and I know he's grown on you. I think you liked him from the jump, and I did it as well. He wins football games. He makes plays to win football games. What is it about that guy? Because you can have all the stats in the world, 300 yards passing, all that kind of stuff. Bottom line is finding a way to lead your team to a victory, and he put that team on his shoulders in the fourth quarter, or on his legs maybe. But he just talk about his performance. It was pretty special, especially in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he's truly a leader, and you see him on the sideline, you see him in interviews, you see him interacting with the players. Like he keeps the momentum. He keeps the guys positive. He keeps them together, and he's a leader. He's a born leader, and he's also a freaking winner, man. When we've needed big plays throughout the season, we've put the ball in his hands, and he hasn't disappointed, and it's so much fun watching him compete. And I don't know about you, but I was fooled on that last one that really sealed the game. I was completely fooled. I thought 100% that ball was going up the middle. But it's almost like he lives for those moments. Like he's one of those guys that just like, all right, big moment, let's go. And I love having that because there's a quarterback that I played with named Rick Stanzi that had that as well too. And when you have that on your side and you've got 10 guys on the field and all the guys on the sideline that believe in that, you're unstoppable. And he's a lot of fun to watch. And I'm super happy that he's a Hawkeye, and I think he does it right. And I think he represents Iowa football the right way.
Pat, I wish I had a bad knee because I guess he has a bad knee, but he looks really good on it, especially on that
I got a terrible
run.
knee, and I don't look good. Yeah, I got a terrible knee. So
No, he
looks a lot better than me.
He did a fantastic job. I want to take you through some of the ebbs and flows of this game, because for the second straight night game at Kinnick Stadium against a big opponent, they start off with an interception. I think an unfortunate interception, but they put themselves behind the 8 ball early. And I think they did a great job coming back in the first half, taking that 10-7 lead. The interception was an intriguing play for me, because great play by Deshaun Lee to make that play on the sideline. I was, I think, in the booth at that point visiting Corey when that went down. I don't know if we thought it was an interception, and then you went back at the replay. What a great individual effort by Deshaun Lee, who's battled it and been through it this year, and he made several big plays, especially against Penn State.
Yeah, it was. It's funny when that play happened so fast, and then they wanted to review it. And I'm like, why? Maybe me and Dolph even at the time were like, why are you reviewing this? And then you showed it on replay. You're like, that son of a gun, he caught that thing. Like, how did he do that? Obviously, hey, you got a chance to make the play. You're out there, you're reacting. You're not thinking, well, if I catch this, we're on the 4 or this and that. He's out there competing. He's making plays. And what I love about it is go back to that Indiana game. That slant, he got beat on that slant, and then they scored at the end. Well, he had a big interception here. He broke up the play to basically seal the game for us at the end, and so proud of that kid because all he's done, talking to Coach, all he's done is show up and compete and play and just try to get better. And I think that exemplar, that I think that speaks a lot about kind of the group of guys that we have, guys like that there's no egos. It's, hey, I'm gonna get what I earn, and I'm gonna compete, and I'm gonna improve, and really happy for him because he's been challenged. They've challenged him quite a bit. Wisconsin went at him. Wisconsin went at TJ Hall as well too, and those guys bowed up and they competed. And really happy for Deshaun.
Take me through the last 30 seconds of the first half. What was going on in the booth? What were you and Gary thinking? I was with Kakert and some of the other media, and I was for it until the practice one, which obviously is not a practice one, but they called a timeout, and it was well short. Were you surprised during that time? Were you surprised that Coach Ferentz decided to try to kick that 66-yard field goal or whatever it was?
I don't know if I was surprised. Obviously, he's seen him make it before. He's not going to try it if he hasn't seen him make it. It was interesting, obviously, and I don't think he got all in it on that on the practice one. I was surprised that I thought they were going to call him for delay a game, which that is delay a game if they blow the whistle well before they snap it and you kick it, and that's what Coach Terry Smith was arguing about. But yeah, actually, Micah Hyde was in the booth with us during that time, and we were on such a high from the Xavier Wampa interception because Micah Hyde came in kind of right during that, and then things were kind of looking our way, and it was like, okay, let's go, let's get some points. Worst case scenario, going to be up 3 at half, and it was a real bummer. That was a bummer when that happened. And the crazy thing, nobody felt worse about it than Coach Ferentz. Nobody felt worse about it than Coach Ferentz. He took extreme ownership of that. And but what's interesting too, I think it was like the next kickoff, Drew kicked it through the uprights.
Yes.
So it's like there was a lot of room. There was a lot of room there too. So obviously, you're kicking it off the tee. It's a little bit different, but he's got the leg for it. He's definitely got the leg for it. Would have loved to see where that ended up if it didn't get blocked. But man, what a bummer that was. We started the game a little bit rough, about as worse as it could have happened, and we finished the first half about as worse as we could have happened. But then at the end of the day, and I was talking to Dolph about it, it was like, we played terrible. We've given them 14 points, and we're only down 4. We've got an opportunity to win this game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was really, and doesn't surprise you. I'm not surprised at all, but you could tell Kirk was emotionally spent when talking about it. Like, it really, he felt he left his team down. He felt he let the guys down. So for him to, get that back and for them to win the the football game, I think, was huge, because I don't think anybody felt more disappointed than Kirk Ferentz about that decision and all those kind of things. Well, I was with you, man. Like, I was like, give him a few more yards, and now you're 13-7, because I turned to Kakert in the middle of the first half, and I think I maybe texted my son. I'm like, Iowa's the better football team. Like, you could just tell Iowa was the better football team. They just kept on making the fourth down, goal line fourth down, where they stopped them, and the offside. And there was just little stupid things that were. And then, Pat, they go up 21-10. So that happens. Penn State gets the ball to start the third quarter, and they go down and they score a touchdown. And it's 21-10. At that point, I'm like, Pat, there's no way they're winning that football game. What were your thoughts around that time? Probably more optimistic than I was, but they took two punches right there, and they kept battling, which I think says a lot about this football team.
Yeah, started the first half about as terrible as we could have started, ended the first half about as terrible as we could have started, and started the second half about as terrible as we could have started. Jeez. And I still, I still thought we had a chance. I mean, it really helped, obviously, that we had a good long drive after that, and we answered. And like you said too, you knew from watching them play we were better. We were better. We could move the ball. We just had to get off the field. And what's interesting too is, like, we had 23 minutes time of possession. 23 minutes time of possession. That's terrible. That's terrible. And we still freaking found a way, take advantage of situations, and when we needed it, we pulled through. And that time it was a little dark, it was a little murky, but I knew that if we kept playing, we'd give ourselves opportunities, and at the end, we'd have an opportunity to win.
I thought that Penn State gave Iowa some opportunities along the way. Obviously, the Wampa interception in the first half was big. They went for it in their own field, or in their own end of the field, on fourth down, didn't get that. I don't think we capitalized as much as Iowa could have, only getting a field goal. But let's go to the fourth quarter, because here we are, 5 minutes to go. And I knew when Penn State kicked that field goal or settled for a field goal, I felt pretty good about things. But I thought it would be this long drive, nail biting. Iowa scores late. Went 2 plays, and a touchdown. Yeah. What was going through your mind? I know Dolph was fantastic on the call, and yourself, and all those kind of things. But I expected something good. I didn't know it would happen that fast.
Yeah, it was. And prior to that, we're like, hey, we need the ball back, right? And they came back, and they had, like, I think Penn State had like an 8-minute drive, like something ridiculous, like a ridiculously long drive. And it's just killing the clock. And you're like, oh my gosh, like, all right, are we even going to have enough time to score? And we got the ball back. And, first play, it was just essentially a QB lead, basically, or a QB read. And all of a sudden he's running down the field. It's like, what is going on? And then, then we score next play. It's like, you're worried going into it. Are we going to have enough time to score? And then you're like, did we score too fast? It was really cool. And that was Mark putting the team on his back. That was guys making plays, running around. It was, you got a group of guys that believe in each other and love each other. Good things like that tend to happen, in those situations.
You know what? I know the Gronowski long run will get the headlines and the highlights. I get it. But that very next play, Weegan to get into the end zone. I mean, he got great blocking outside, but that was a great individual effort to break a tackle and get into the end zone to give Iowa the lead. I don't think we talk about that enough. Like, yes, we're all fired up about the long run by Gronowski, but heck of an individual effort by a guy that keeps making big plays, whether it's obviously in special teams, but you can see Iowa and Tim Lester wanting to get him more involved in the offense, because good things happen when he touches the football.
Oh, 100%. And they really did it. They really tried early on and often to get him the ball in space, just because he's a playmaker. The dude's a machine. What's funny about that play is they actually installed that play during bye week. So it's kind of interesting. I just found that little snippet out, that was a play that they installed during bye week and put it in. He tough guy. It looked like he was kind of dead to rights there a little bit, was able to do his little wiggle and get through. And another guy too that didn't get I don't think enough credit just for his effort and work in the game was Kamari Moulton. I mean, he was a tough guy. Mm-hmm. He had a lot. Mark had great runs, but most of the time when Mark was running, they knew they didn't think he was going to run, right? And most of the time when Caden's making plays, like they're not, it's a little quick getting it out there. When Kamari's running the ball, we're lined up in running formation, and they know we're coming at him. And Kamari is bulldozing and fighting and scratching. And another thing too with our O-line is really good. We have a really good O-line. Those guys are vicious. They're violent. And, there's no surprise. They're the biggest reason why we're doing so well. Those guys control the game. They dominate the opponent. They wear them down. Those guys, in my opinion, are the MVPs of this team.
You mentioned Kamari, and I'm glad you did. Scott Docterman was on the Hawkeye Tailgate show, and he goes, Kamari Moulton is that guy that the rest of the Big Ten isn't talking about. I think he called him the most underrated running back in the Big Ten, and I fully agree. We went through a little area where we didn't know who Iowa's lead back was, and they're getting contributions from everybody. But in the last couple games, now back healthy, Kamari Moulton's kind of showed that he's a really good football player, probably the number one guy on this team in the football in the backfield, and he's doing really good things. We missed him early on, Pat. I know we have guys, and I know we like our depth, but he's really starting to get some traction. 99 yards, Pat. 99. Come on, give me one more, right?
Yeah, and probably, gosh, I would love to see how many of those yards were after contact too. The dude was bulldozing and playing extremely hard. I'm happy for him because he's last year he came in as a starter. This year came in as a starter. Injury issues, but for him to kind of cement his name in there as like, hey, he is our guy. He is the starter. He's the lead back. It's pretty cool, and I'm proud of him. And I'll tell you the truth too is the rest of the backs, they're a team and they're excited for each other. They love when everybody does well. So it's a great group. It's a lot of really talented individuals, and it's Iowa guys that work extremely hard. And Kamari is leading that group, and it's super fun to watch.
You mentioned, did we score too early? Did Iowa score too early? Talk about that defense, 4th and 4. What did you see? Phil Parker with the great blitz call. And there he is once again, Deshaun Lee, much maligned, and a lot of dudes are gonna get down on themselves making a big play to knock it away and making sure it's an Iowa football. But what did you see on that last play for the defense when Kinnick was rocking, Pat? Like it was loud. What did you see on that play?
Yeah, their quarterback. It seemed like all night he was very slippery. I want to say. Wampa, I want to say Xavier. I think he blitzed in there and got his hands on him, but the guy kind of switched. He kind of slipped off, and then we had DNs and D tackles coming there, just couldn't quite get to him, and he throws this ball, and it seems like it's hanging in the air forever. Like, oh man, he's got a guy down there. Like he's got a guy, and this isn't looking good. And then Deshaun Lee just comes out of nowhere and makes a great play and make sure he doesn't panic with the ball in the air, which is great, and knocks it out and wins that game for us. And couldn't have a better kid, man. I'm really happy for him, and I think he deserves that success. And hopefully, it's something that he continues to improve on and grow from. Obviously,
Iowa got the ball back. Gronowski, the great quarterback, naked bootleg, if you will. To
Gronowski the Great. That's good. Did you just?
I think I just stumbled on something like that. But Gronowski with the Great is, I think, what I meant to say.
Gronowski the Great's good.
I like it. So, you've been part of those, Pat. You've been part of those scenes at Kinnick Stadium at night on the field against Penn State. Hell, against Penn State. You were now here. We are several years later because you're old. And I love the booth because I came and hung out there a little more than I used to because the press box, it's the window. You can't feel the energy, if you know what I mean. You're just watching out of it's almost like watching on TV. I love, you guys have the windows wide open. When you get to see that in front of you, what's going through your mind? You've been part of it. Now you got a bird's eye view from it. What's going through your mind when Iowa's celebrating on the field and you see emotional Kirk on the sideline maybe and Iowa winning a football game like that?
Yeah, no, man, I'm super happy for the guys and happy for the fans that were in there. I mean, they really, once again, I thought they did a great job against Indiana and they showed up once again. I mean, Iowa fans are the absolute best. And you do miss those moments, like that was, I'm always envious of those guys that are down there doing that, because that's something. And Coach Ferentz mentioned it in his post-game show. Like, that feeling is something you're going to chase the rest of your life, and you're never going to find it. And luckily with this radio stuff, I kind of get to be a little bit of a part of it. So yeah, really happy for the guys, and proud of them. And it was just those gritty wins, those ugly, gritty freaking wins. Like, those are a little bit more enjoyable than the big blowouts for sure.
Pat Anger joining us right now. We're going to talk about the Gophers in a second. I'm going to let you go here soon. Did you have any good reactions? I haven't gone back and watched the YouTube stream. Were you pretty fired up when these plays were happening, or did you behave yourself when it comes to getting too fired up in the booth?
I think I probably behaved myself. I just remember, after when Deshaun Lee broke that ball up, I just remember being like, like just taking a huge deep breath. And I went through a lot of emotions in that booth. It was, I'm sure everybody in that stadium just went, it was a lot. That was a lot on us to watch. And I played in those type of games, and it was so much easier when you're playing in them, because you're just playing, you're reacting. But when you're when you're watching them, it's so much harder to deal with. But I don't know if I said anything good or anything terrible or anything like that, but haven't got any calls yet. So
I love that. The post game interviews are easier with Kirk after a victory, aren't they? Especially for you being a former player.
Yeah, I honestly I struggle, and I really have a hard time when we lose. I feel terrible for him, because I know how much he puts into it. Yeah, so much more fun when we win, because you can laugh and giggle and make jokes and all that stuff. I do want to give it. I think that Coach Smith from Penn State. He was put in a really tough scenario, and obviously short week, and he did a good job bringing these guys into Kinnick in a tough environment. With a first game starting quarterback, and he brought them in. They were together, and they played hard, and they competed. I think much respect should go to them. Wish him the best of luck. I hope they give him an opportunity to lead them next year and in the future.
We get to take a deep breath and relax for a second, and then here come the Gophers, 2:30 on Saturday. I know it's early in the week. You haven't dived into all the film study. You should see Pat Anger during the week, guys. He's like watching film left and right and diagramming stuff and diagramming punt plays. Maybe not for the Hawkeyes, but diagramming punt plays nevertheless. How'd they work? Did that work out?
No, that's for Kale's team. So we'll see how that goes on Monday when we install it. But no, Emmett's team played today. They just finished their undefeated season. Not a big deal, but it was. God, I got to fly in here. This isn't good.
It is a big deal, Pat, because you just mentioned it on the most popular news show here in the Quad Cities. So now those guys are going to get a lot of fanfare. You got to be careful.
As they should. Now, I do want to talk about the 8th grade team that I do coach. That I took them out of school ball because it was so terrible. But we're doing our own thing this year with the 8th graders, and had a lot of kids do really well. Haven't lost yet there either. So we'll see. We got a couple games left. We'll see how that goes. It's been a lot of fun. They had a terrible year last year, and I couldn't sit back and watch them just not be coached and just not be ready to go. So I put my money where my mouth is and got them coached up, and they've done an amazing job this year. It's been a ton of fun.
Yeah, you coached them up, but they responded, and I think that's the cool part. The coaches can coach.
Yeah, I'm not easy.
But they're
not easy on them.
Can't even imagine. I can't
not
even
easy
imagine.
on them. I'm easy on the 6th graders, not easy on the 8th graders, because 8th graders think they're cool and tough, and there's those egos need to be checked.
And it's high school football next year, so you better get ready.
Yep.
Because it's coming quickly.
Yeah, that was my fear. Honestly, my fear was I didn't want to have them have two bad years of football and then go to high school and you've got kids quitting that just didn't have fun. I want them to have one good, fun year of football experience, success, get coached up, and hopefully have that momentum going into high school.
I love it. The Gophers are coming to town next week. What do you know about them? What have you seen? I don't like PJ Fleck. I think he's swarmy. I'm not a big PJ Fleck guy. Your thoughts on the Gophers?
He's a big PJ Fleck guy.
Who is? Oh, he is.
I think PJ Fleck. He's the biggest PJ Fleck guy in the world. He loves PJ Fleck.
Yes.
No, I don't. They'll be tough. I haven't watched any film on them. I honestly planned on. I wanted to. My neighbor's a big Nebraska fan, and Friday I was going to go over there and watch the game with him, but wasn't able to get to do that. But I know that their play-by-play guy is an Iowa guy, Mike Grimm, and he's one of my favorite humans. Got a chance to know him the last couple of years and really enjoy him. So I like him. I hope that he doesn't enjoy coming here. I hope it's a game where we win. Haven't watched a lot of film. I know that they had a ton of sacks against Nebraska. Would they have 9? They sacked Nebraska 9 times.
Yeah.
And Nebraska's a tough little football team. So we'll see. Last year when we played them, really it was a pretty tight game in the first half. We just kind of dominated that second half and put up a lot of points. Hopefully that happens. I really like our O-line. I will be interested to see once I dive into film and see kind of what they do.
Nebraska's a tough little football team. They're going to love hearing that from Pat Anger, Nebraska fans. They're a tough little football team. They're cute. That's precious. Where is Minnesota?
I think they're solid.
Where's Minnesota on your rivalry list? Like when it comes to you personally, like, is it like you don't like them? I mean, I get the rivalry. I know it's there, but like growing up for me, it was, as an Iowa fan, it was Illinois or Iowa State or even Wisconsin a little more. Where do you rank it in your rivalry list for the Hawkeyes?
Like just for me personally?
Yeah, you personally.
I don't know. Not that high. I mean, when I played, I think my senior year or my junior year, we won like 55-0, then we won 17-0. So I don't know. To me, it's like not much of a rivalry. I don't know if they ever scored on me, to be honest with you, when I started, but that's a whole different story. So I don't know. We'll see. I think they want it to be a rivalry. And I think that, if we continue to win, it's not going to be.
They don't win. That's the thing, Pat, is they've won one time in the last whatever years. So that is definitely the case.
And that was, and we all know that call. We all know what happened there. That was obviously a terrible call.
It's amazing. If you bring that up around a Minnesota fan and an Iowa fan, they will still fight, like, to this day. Like, both sides are so animate. But one side's completely right, and one side's full of opinion. I tell people all the time, you can have all the opinion you want, but there's a difference between fact and opinion, and Iowa's on the factual side of this. You are going to the Grid Club for a little luncheon on Monday afternoon today. What can fans expect? Are you ready to rock and roll? People love to come watch you, Pat. People love listening to you talk.
I hate hearing myself talk. So, I don't know. Hopefully I make some sense. And, hopefully I get out of there, I don't know, a couple giggles.
I'm heading over there. I will be there to support you. You got to do something about that fly. Like, seriously, you got to kill it.
It's really...
It's
really bugging. I've been trying to kill it for the last 3 days.
Well, get it done. Enjoy the week. Have fun at the Grid Club. If anybody's wondering, Pat's at the Grid Club. It's at the Knights of Columbus over in Davenport. So go check that out later on today. And we'll talk to you later this week, my friend. Always appreciate you. Get the fly. Get the fly.
Hold on. Watch this. Oh, I thought I had it. Didn't get it.
That would have been the coolest thing that ever happened on Off the Air, which is not saying
close.
much, but it's still pretty good. So, all right, Patrick, be good. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, man. That is Pat Anger here on a Monday, breaking down an Iowa victory, which is always a good thing. As he mentioned, it's much better talking about, and I mean that with like everything. Like when Illinois wins too, it's easier for me to talk about Illinois victories and Iowa State victories with our experts and stuff than it is talking about losses. So big victory for Iowa. They move on. They're now 5-2. They have the Gophers coming to town this weekend. They're playing well. They're 5-2 as well. And then there's a bye week for Iowa coming up. So Iowa could get to 6-2, enjoy a bye week, and start thinking about what might be when it comes to later this season as well. But first things first, the Gophers at 2:30. And if you're interested, head out, check Pat out. Once I get done with the show and do a few little things around here, I'm going to go check him out at the very end of his speech as well. Hopefully he has everybody giggling, as he said. So we got much more to get to right here. You're watching Off the Air on a Monday. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities, week 8 of the high school football season in the books. It was a fun Friday night on both sides of the river, and it sets up some big games coming up in week number 9. A lot of conference championships, district championships, playoff berths will be on the line on both sides of the river, including in Iowa, where we're setting up for a really big game coming up at North Scott when the Lancers host Davenport North. Winner will get in the playoffs for sure. Loser will have to wait and find out their fate. And we're joined now by the head coach of the Davenport North Wildcats, Adam Hite, joining us right now. Coach, thank you. It's week 9. Where the hell did the season go, right?
It's been the fastest football season I've ever experienced. So it's crazy to think that it's week 9 and we still have such warm weather.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy, nuts. A lot of fun as well. It's been a good year for you guys. I want to talk about this game coming up on Friday in a minute, but I want to focus on the Wildcats because 6-2 on the season, 3 straight victories, and Coach, you're playing at a high level. I think it's 134-17. You've outscored your last 3 opponents. The season's been good, but I feel like they've been getting better throughout the season. What is it right now that you like about you guys?
You know, we looked at, our 2 losses, Clear Creek Amana and Western Dubuque, both very good teams, a lot more physical and bigger than us. But, we finished that Western Dubuque game, and I told the players, I said, this is their time right now. We just need to take one step forward after every game. And it started with Clinton. And we took that step forward, and then I reiterated to them again, let's take another step against Burlington and then take another step against West. And I said, we want to be peaking when we get to North Scott. And that was our ultimate goal. I feel like we're right there. This is going to be a big game for us this week. A lot of these players haven't been in a big game like this before. So it's exciting. The team's ready to go, and they're ready to get after it.
How fun is high school football when you're playing in meaningful games like you are right now? And you look back into the season, obviously West is a big game every year. Central is city champions once again. How much fun is things right now, especially when the games mean as much as they do right now?
It was different this year with us moving down to 4A because, you can kind of look at it as those first 4 games of the season. they mean something, but they're kind of like preseason a little bit. And then but all that matters really now is a little bit of district play. So it was kind of interesting that like every game, in 5A means a lot in 5A. And then, but in 4A, every game means a lot for your district and all that stuff. So it was just a little bit different mentality for us this year as players and for coaches. When we lost to Clear Creek, I said, this really might not affect us at all if we go out and do what we got to do in district play. But it was different with district play because the kids knew that we had to raise our level up for the